Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. Thank you very much for joining me today. It is Sunday, a very warm Sunday, so I have the air conditioner on, so I do apologise for any like fluffy, air sound travelling past. I have, for you who may actually be watching two streams at once, I've just been over at Ron's channel, Ron from Ron's Computer Videos, and we've been on a blue scuzzy building binge, and I thought, oh, I'll get in on that. So I did, and I was a little bit delayed because I'm pretty sure that the batch of blue scuzzies that I got made up are an older version of this board with a fault. But I will confirm that later on. But anyhow, that's enough for that then. So 24 degrees C here in Arizona. That's not too bad though. You're in the middle of winter. I know. That's not too bad at all. I should say hello to everyone. I've said hello to no one. Look at that. I'm breaking with my routine. Hello to Jeremy. Hello to Enzo. Garth. Jay is here. Alex. Kai is here. And Thomas. And Dana. And Joe, Lazy Jones, Sadmac 356, and Justin is here, and Starbuck Tech, and Mike Rojas. I get it wrong all the time. It's so embarrassing, isn't it? It's long enough. Rojas. It's long enough that I mess it up again. So I practice your name in my spare time. Lucas Elliott, John Mortz, is it Bard? Yeah, and Jack 68K, Shermanic. I got it, good, okay. Yeah, so it's interesting because because of some I have known a lot of European people, like for instance I used to work for like a Polish person, and his whole family are in it and all that sort of stuff, and so I instinctively, when I see a J like that, I go for the Y sound, which you would get more from, I think, from a Slavic type language, whereas the H sound, which is more the Hispanic side, I think. I have no idea. I will stop talking about cultural stuff because I don't know. But anyhow, this is why I often get caught up with J's, because I instinctively go to pronounce them with a Y sound. Or obviously, if in English, a J sound. So, who here was on the other stream, or is still watching the other stream in the meantime? I'm just curious to know. I'd hate for their fewer numbers to die when I started doing this. That would make me feel very bad. So I did a bit of a clickbaity sort of thumbnail for the video today. Essentially, we're going to be recapping a Macintosh IIvx. But I did a little clickbaity title just to see if it would generate any additional interest. I like to do that sort of thing. Right, so it is. Oh, and just for, it's 29 degrees Celsius here at the moment, so that's what it is now. It's likely to get up to probably about 32 today, yeah, not too bad. It's not too bad sitting in here with the air conditioning. I switched over as they were too busy soldering to watch the chat. I better not make the same mistake. I better look at these. Watching both, yeah. So a few people watching both. Fair enough. Hello, Fabrizio. And all right, okay, all right. It's a warm 3 degrees C here. Ugh. Yes, I've been seeing from my Mac-Yak friends. I've been seeing lots of pictures being posted of snow, which is like ugh. I don't know. It'd probably be fun to visit, but not necessarily wanting to live it. Anyone who happened to watch my live stream, I think it was last week, when I was fiddling around with a joystick. I have actually had an opportunity to test that joystick. Oh, how's that pronounced? Hello. I have a battery bomb 2VX on my bench, not sure if it's worth trying to save. Well, it does depend on how bad the battery bombing is. I have repaired a battery bomb 2VX. I've even got a video of it on my channel. It's a pre-recorded one. It's not a live one, so it's, you know, it's a little bit, you know, neater and tighter. And it was, so near the battery are things like the RAM slots and that, and so if you've got battery gunk got under there and caused corrosion, that can give you a little bit of grief. There are some computers that you know, the battery is not too bad. It's not in a particularly bad position, but the 2SI has probably got to be one of the worst because it's right next to the CPU. When I put the board, it's over here, so I slotted it in somewhere. There it is. I'm going to go get it. It's just here. I don't have to go far. So this is the 2VX. I have several 2VXs, and I didn't mean to have several 2VXs. But I bought a 2VX from someone a while ago for $50, and I was pretty happy with that. And then the guy contacted me and he said, "Oh, I've got another 2VX. Do you want that as well? This one's in better condition and it works and has a hard drive and blah 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 blah. So $100." And you know, whether people know this or not, in Australia, pricing for vintage computers is kind of stupid. And I decided that even for $100, a 2VX was still something I really didn't want to pass up. So lots of toing and froing, but I went and got it, and this is it. Apparently does work, but has not been recapped, and so that's what we're going to do with it today. We're going to recap it. But here we have the battery. And as you can see, he lives near a few of these bigger chips here. Probably not too much grief if any of those had to be replaced or anything, but quite close to the RAM slots here. So, and with the one that I did, one of the kind of good things was most of the battery gunk leaked through this little hole. See this little hole here? Most of the battery gunk leaked through that. And so it did probably less damage to the board, you know, than if it had just all spread across and pooled. So I cleaned it all up. I had to take one of the RAM slots off, repair a little trace underneath it, and got that battery bomb one working. So, but I have a very different attitude to battery bomb boards than I used to, where I used to have an attitude of complete gusto. Yes, indeed, send it to me, I'll get it working. Nowadays, when I think of repairs as more of a business than a hobby, and wanting to make money from it, I generally stay away from most battery bomb boards these days because I know from experience that you can spend hours on a battery bomb board and still not get it working. So, third glass of wine. Yes, have another. Definitely have another, Thomas. Go for it. Speaking of which, I need to do a wine order today. I think I've only got like one bottle left. That'll only last me half an hour. Okay. Oh, Kai, quick question. Sorry, I meant to ask you this. I have been chatting with Kai earlier today. It is very late where he is at the moment. But you are in, I think on one of the Discords, you were saying you were getting a great big batch of chips, and you said, should I chuck some of these in with the 2FX board? What do those chips do, just out of curiosity? What do they go in? So, you know, because you're the one that knows all of the purposes of all the chips and all that. I've got no idea. Ever thought about getting something like a 2VI for the case and slotting in the board from a Quadracenter 650 or a PowerMax 7100? Yeah, I mean, I have. Because all of these boards are very, very similar in shape and size. This is the 2VI, and it's very, very similar to the size of a Quadra 700. It's exactly the same as I think, it's very, very similar to the 650. Because for those who aren't aware, the 650 is in exactly the same case. But this is very similar in size to CI, CX, 700, very, very similar size board. And I believe with the 2VI, 2VX, they're actually swappable with the 650. I can't demonstrate that because I don't have a 650. I've never had a 650. I want a 650, but I don't have a 650. One day. Custom to patch on dead areas. Yep, no, I agree with that. So just following up on what Kai has basically said there, Kai, the creator of the classic reloaded board. Here I've got one here, which is not quite complete, but still functional. He is the creator of this one. This one, I've got my little patch. There's my little patch down the bottom there. If you have the energy to go on and swap all the parts across, then yeah, you start off with a pristine board with no trace damage. You just got to make sure you transfer everything across okay. See, for example, I have two boards here, which I might be able to fix one day. I haven't looked at them in quite some time. I probably need to get back to them. I've got a Macintosh IIvx. It's not mine, it belongs to a customer. And I said, look, I will just try and fix it up in the spare time that I have. And of course, I don't have spare time, so that was a really silly thing for me to say. And then another one I have is a Quadra 700. And that's one where I would love to get that working. Even though I have a working Quadra 700, what's better than one Quadra 700? Two Quadra 700s. And then you can just get some big screens and do a Jurassic Park thing. How's that Apple IIc? That Apple IIc is going really well. Should we fire it up before we get going so we can see it working? Seeing as it wasn't working at the end of the last one. I'm not even sure if that RAM chip I replaced was even necessary, because as soon as I ultrasonically cleaned the 2CI, it started working. Just bang, like that. Shabanga bang. So, that's no. Where did I put it? Just wondering. Oh, it's behind me. See it? Anyone see it? Did anyone spot it? Spot the 2CI? 2C? So, here's the 2C. Still haven't cleaned the keyboard yet, so I don't want to hear anything about that. Let's go here to top view. But if we take the keyboard off, oh, I better zoom out a bit. Look at me. Look at me. There we go. That's a bit better. So if we take the keyboard out, the desk's a little bit dirty at the moment. I was going to clean it this morning, but somehow ended up on someone else's stream instead. So, okay, so beep, 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 beep. So this is the board after it's been ultrasonically cleaned. It's all come up and clean. That was the chip that I replaced with the socket. And it started giving us different behavior when we swapped that, but it still wasn't working. But then after ultrasonic cleaning, it all worked beautiful. I ran the diagnostics on it first. The what do you call it? It's got that built-in diagnostics. If the keyboard's not connected, it will automatically go into diagnostics. So I let that run, and then it just went through and came out and said, system okay. And I'm like, yay! Yes, looking for a classic 68K Mac at this point. I'm thinking of either 575 or 631 CD opinions. So yeah, John, let me just bring you a little comment up here, because we will talk about this. Kai has obviously addressed one of the most important things, and that is that they do have incredibly brittle plastic. They literally went from 1 year to the next. So you go from a situation where you've got like Quadra 650, and then like the following year, we get into like the 630. And from that point on, plastics went terribly. And the really important thing you have to remember about a 575 or a 580 or any of those all-in-one units of that time is that they have a CRT inside them. Sure, yeah, we all know that. The weight of the CRT is enough to damage the outer case in transport, even if you get that and you cover it in bubble wrap and you cover it in packing peanuts and you put it in a super strong box. If that box gets dropped, the weight of the CRT inside the computer can actually snap plastic inside the case. So that's just something to keep in mind. They're really best not shipped at all. If you're going to be selling them, trying to sell them, or you're going to buy them, try and buy them from somewhere local where you can go and actually pick it up by car. That would be my recommendation. The other problem is, of course, in the future, in particular the 575, it's going to need recapping of the analog board, and the process of removing the analog board is probably going to cause some damage as well. So just keep that in mind too. So, look, you know, at the end of the day, I would say the advantage of the 575 is it's got a built-in screen. So it's an all-in-one unit, that's great. I would be inclined, I think, yes, definitely go with something with an 040 chip. But pretty much all of the old 040 computers have got damage. I'm just trying to think of what oh, actually, no, I mean, you could go, I was going to say you could go a Quadra 700, but they're just stupid expensive. I do have a 630, and, you know, every time I pick it up, more plastic falls off it. I've got a 580, and I like the 580, but again, it's very, very brittle. But what I would say about the 630, again, brittle plastic, but what I would say about the 630 is you're likely to get one of those pretty cheap. They're not one of the really desirable units. I mean, unless they have, because they had ones with like a DOS card in them, I think. If you're just getting a plain 630, you know, or equivalent, I think you should be able to get one of those for a pretty decent price. So that's one good advantage to going with one of them. Yes, the other thing worth mentioning with the 040 chip, here's an 040 chip for anyone who is unaware. They're very easy to tell them apart. This is 6.8, you can't see it, it's too far away. Focus, there we go. 6.8 LC 04020, so 20 megahertz, 68040 LC version. And what's really important to remember about the LC version, it means that this does not have a floating point unit built into it. You can just swap them out. If you get hold of one that doesn't have the LC on it, you can just swap spots over, and you will then have a floating point unit, a math coprocessor built in. So the LC on these ones means they didn't have a math coprocessor built in. This one here is this one's the full one here, and this one is a 40, I think. Focus. 68040, no, 25 megahertz. There we go. So anyhow, that's just a quick thing about the that as to what difference a math coprocessor is going to make in day-to-day stuff. I've never really been able to definitively figure that out, but may as well get the full one if you can. £8. I'd buy those. I would buy those for sure. Every time I've gone to go buy an 040 chip, they've been stupid expensive. Stupid. Right, so I'm just going to put a floppy drive there. We don't need to use a floppy drive because I have a thing here called a floppy emu. Okay, so let's just get this. I was going to pop this out of the way now. There we go. So we've got our emu here. I'm going to connect that up to the internal floppy drive, just like thusly. And then we need to get a screen. We need to get a screen and a battery. Now this is in monochrome. This is the PAL version of the 2C, the PAL version of the 2C. And you need a thing to get them to do color on the video output. I don't know. It's rather annoying. If you've got the PAL version, you just get black and white output. Someone probably knows more about that than I do. Actually, I'm sure someone knows more than that than I do. All right, so let's plug in the old power-uni. Ba-bum. And then we will just plonk that. Just you plonk. There you go. Plonk away. So there's our screen. Going to switch him on. Beep. Is the screen? Yeah, the screen's just going to come on by itself. There we go. What are we loading? Oh, we're loading Montezuma's Revenge. For anyone who knows that. Turn. Oops. Oops, I'm going. Apparently I'm going. I just died. I used to love this game. I'll be honest. When it comes to, that's enough. It works. Okay, that's the important thing. So when we were looking at this the other day, we were starting up into this diagnostics thing where it goes through the diagnostic process, and it was getting to the end of it, and the screen was still all jumbled up. It was doing it. It was actually doing the test, but the screen was all jumbled up. So it sort of was working. But it, just we weren't getting a proper output. But as I say, once ultrasonically cleaned, it all looked good. There were some concerns that someone voiced during the chat of screen printing getting removed during the ultrasonic cleaning process. Well, that did not happen. The screen printing, system okay. The screen printing is still perfectly intact. I haven't lost anything there at all, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so that's enough of the 2C. That's just to answer the question that people had about the 2C from the last episode. It is working. I am going to clean all this up. I'm going to get this looking all pristine. I plan to have this set up so that I can actually play some games. I don't have a joystick for it. Well, I had one there, but it's not mine, so I'm not going to use it. That would be pretty poor form. So, other than testing, that is, I'm not going to sit there and play games with someone else's joystick. So I'm going to have to play games with the keyboard and whatnot. Yeah, so that's a happy story. Happy story because our computer, our 2C, is working, and I'm happy about that. And I have to admit, I have a renewed gusto to try and get the second one that I've got working, the one that I fried bits of it. I'm thinking that I might now, with some of my newly acquired knowledge, be able to actually get that one working. So let's get back to what we came here for, and that is a 2VX. So, quick little history story about the 2VX. It is one of the stupidest computers that Apple ever released. It has one of the shortest lifespans in terms of how long it lasted before it was discontinued. It is an 030 CPU running at 33 megahertz. It has a floating point unit here as well. It's the two good things that came out of this computer was a new case design. The desktop case design of the 2VI/2VX was I think a very nice design, but more importantly, it gave the ability for a CD-ROM to be installed. So you could actually have a CD-ROM on a desktop computer. Now, while the towers, like the Quadra 800 and Quadra 900, they had CD-ROM options. They didn't have CD-ROMs in any of the smaller desktop models for Apple. The 2VX was the very first of the desktop model of Mac that actually had a CD-ROM option. So that to me, that's the saving grace of it. It's the nice case design, and the option for a CD-ROM to go in there. Alrighty, okay. Oh, Mike is here. Hello, Mike from Mike's Mac Shack. Okay, so this was, I think it might have been the last Apple computer to have axial electrolytic caps as well. I think, I could be wrong. I don't think any after this one had that. The 2VI, which wasn't available in America, but it was available here in Australia, and I have one of those. The primary difference between them is the 2VI is a slightly slower CPU. I think it might be 25 megahertz instead of 33. It does not have a floating point unit, but it has a socket for one. And so, yeah. It's got built-in video. And of course, this one that I got came with an Ethernet card, which is kind of nice. I wasn't expecting that. But this was sold as working, which is nice. But the VI is a 16, so it's half of this. Keeping in mind that by this stage there were much better computers. This was from a historical perspective, I believe that this is the beginning of the sort of massive number of products that Apple started releasing. They ended up creating so many different products within their market, and I dare utter the word performer. That you could literally have 10 or 15 different models of more or less the same computer, just configured slightly differently, and you were in a situation of what do I buy? And I sort of feel like the 2VX, 2VI are part of that, because they were creating this additional tier of kind of like low-end desktop computer. And as I say, I feel like this was the kind of the beginning of that era that Apple went through of just flooding the market with products to the point that people just did not know what they should buy. They'd go buy a computer, and there were so many different options. If they wanted an Apple, which one do I buy? And even the people in the shops didn't know. So, so tell me something, Kai. Would it be foreseeable to overclock the 2VI reasonably easily. Just replace replace one of these. What is it? It'd be this one. That's where is it? I can't read that because my eyes. Hang on. Where are we? That one's 40. That one is 25.175. That was 31.3344. So one of those, I guess it's the 31.3344, is the, if you were to change that crystal on the 2VI into the same as on this, I assume you would be able to get a 2VI running at 2VX speed. So I must try that sometime. I'm pretty sure I've got a few spare 030s floating around. Yeah, look at this. Got a few here. Whoopsie. They're not in the best condition, and they're not genuine. But I've got yeah, some 33 mega. That's an actual genuine Motorola. That one. Pins need a little bit of straightening though. That's Motorola too. That's 33. Oh, so that's Motorola too. This is the copy here. Yep. There we go. Got to have your CPUs floating around. Apple. Oh, they what? They gimped it. Pfft, Apple being Apple. Quadra 605 is a quiet, capable 6x4x8-bit powerhouse. I have nothing but good things to say about the Quadra 605 LC475. The only thing I don't like about them is they've only got one expansion slot. So you know, you've kind of got really only got one option. If you want to get them connected to network, you've got no you know, sort of video card or anything like that for them. But they're a great little computer. I really like them, apart from the plastics. Apart from the plastics falling apart. But yes, I love the little Quadra 605 LC475. Can't be overclocked at all. Shocking. Oh well, so be it. All right, well, let's get started on this thing. I don't need to log this into my repair thing because it's mine. Got a new battery. I think this is a newish battery. Ramway. Okay, let's just check how much electricity is in it. How much electricity you got? DC voltage. This is a Kaiweets KM601 multimeter. Some of you who may have never watched my streams before might be thinking to yourself, gosh, I want one of them. Well, you'll find a link in the description. There we go, 3.6 volts. So this one is a plenty happy battery. Links in the description if you would like to buy one of these fancy multimeters with all its fanciness and fanciness. Right, these I think are 1 megabyte sims. So that means it probably has 4 ones in there. I think this did have some onboard RAM there. Not sure how much, it's probably 4, I would think. I don't think they put more than 4 on board on these sorts of computers back in the day. So let's get those out of the way, and then we've got a couple of VRAM sims here as well. Come on VRAM, out you come. So there we have VRAM. Right. PDS slot, 3 new bus slots, kind of good. Oh, that was good. That was nice. Tom's got a bit of a discount because he had to wait a long time. That worked out quite well. I got mine obscenely fast. Seriously, when I got mine, it just pew. PPC card for the 475 is actually rated for 75 megahertz. Well, the rare PPC upgrade for my 475, I didn't even know they made one. Okay. So I'm just reading. Now, I do actually have, I think, some 512K VRAM modules. I've got at least one. So yeah, I'll try that out. I'll go whip them out. I think I've got one sitting in an LC2 and then one that's just sitting. Enzo, hello. Never had a 605. I just never figured why they would make a ton of great machines in the Quadra line and then come out with a 605 and only had an LC040. Yeah, still small pizza box form factor. Great little computer. I've just realised hoarding is a good thing. Her iPad crapped out. Within 2 minutes, she had a MacBook Air running her Plex show right where she stops. There you go. You can never have too many things. That's what I say. Right, we've got to get some of these old caps off. I can actually tell that there's leakage here. It's got that sort of, you can see how the board is glossy here when I shine the light on it. Glossy, 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 glossy. Except for the areas around here. You can see how matte that is, and that's because of that electrolyte leakage. And we'll see the same in this region here. Where are we? There we go. Yeah, see how matte that is? You can see there's just kind of this big blur shape around here from where we've had electrolyte leakage. And that is why it is so important to clean it afterwards. So this will be going into the old ultrasonic cleaner afterwards to get all that gunk off after we get some new caps on there. And of course it is a double thing. And for anyone here who's thinking about recapping or think if they've got a computer that they know has got electrolyte leakage, the leaked electrolyte is one part of the problem, but it's not both parts. You have to recap, you have to clean. You can't just do one or the other. So just keep that in mind for anyone who's thinking, oh wow, I've got this classic and it doesn't work. I just put it in the dishwasher and now it does work. I'm home free. You're not home free, really. You really do need to consider that needs to be recapped as well as cleaned. And I don't condone putting them in a dishwasher, but I know lots of people do it. So, yeah. She doesn't mind me watching the streams. Okay, so I'll have to keep my gentle voice going. What if I do this? Will this scare her away?
Smash that like button.
For anyone who hasn't smashed that, if anyone is just thinking that is just the dumbest YouTube-y thing to say, smash that like button, it is meant with a sense of irony. And it basically started with a conversation that I was having, I think, with Dana from Maciac. Dana doesn't do stuff, that Dana, where we were talking about becoming a YouTuber, content creator, and he just sort of started prattling off a few little sayings, and one of them was smash that like button. And it just tickled my fancy. I just from that point on, I just thought it was one of the funniest things. So anyhow, and it's just stayed. Smash that like button. Right, so we have to jump across onto microscope view here. I am going to be removing these caps using hot air. You probably, with these, you'd probably be better off with some solder tweezers, to be honest, but because there's a lot of plastic around, but I don't have solder tweezers, so I'm not going to be using them. I can't really use something I don't have, so I may get them one day. This here is a thing called an egret chip, sometimes also referred to as the CUDA chip. And you're going to have all sorts of problems if that chip ain't working properly. Namely, it won't switch on. And of course, the fact that it's right next to a capacitor means that it's one of the reasons why a lot of these computers stop working when the caps start leaking. So, yeah, I'm looking for my heat shields. I'm looking for my heat shields. There you go, I found another one. That'll do. Okay, so I'm using my little blades here as heat shields so that I can blast this with hot air without melting anything. Smashed. U15 is not the egret or CUDA. Hey. Where are we? I'm not sure what you're referring to there. I was pointing at U9, unless it wasn't showing up on the camera. It may not have been showing up on the camera, but I was pointing at U9. Yep, see, there we go. So we will clarify that. That's what I was pointing to. Egret, U9. I may have been showing something else on camera, but that's certainly what I was referring to. Live life with egrets. Okay, let's continue. That's one cap off. One of the good things about the old 2VX is there aren't a whole lot of caps to remove, so I think it's like 6 or something like that. So, alrighty. Got to get something to make this stay up. That is the cooter. I knows a cooter when I sees one. But yes, as often happens when I'm doing these, I point the, I'm looking at something through the eyepiece, but I don't, just bear with me one moment. Yeah, so I'm often looking through the eyepiece and I don't see, I see a much larger area than I'm actually broadcasting. So I might be saying, hey, look at this thing, and you can't even see it. So for that, I apologize in advance. I actually have a 2VX here brought to me by a customer that was recapped and sort of works. And when I say sort of works, it works 99% of the time, but every now and again it just does some weird stuff. And it's like the worst problem to try and sort out. You've got to try and find what the problem is that it's making it sometimes not work. So that's going to be a fun little one for me to experiment with. One thing I can confirm with the cooter is that I bought a bunch of cooters, and the one for the Color Classic does seem to work on the LC475, Q605 and the LC575, I think. All of those ones, the cooters that I bought seem to work on all of those. So yeah, I don't know if it means it's going to like blow up, but it does seem to work. Cooter. I'm going to need 3 heat shields now. Now we're really going to be pushing it. There you go. Let's use a battery as a heat shield. No, no, don't do that. That'd be a stupid thing to do. See, the problem I have here now, there's that, I couldn't even find that one. I'm a stickler. I don't want to melt plastic. I could always just grab a little bit of Captain tape and hope for the best, eh? Yeah, there we go. Let's see how that goes. How hot is the heat gun and how strong do you set the air pressure to? So for what I'm doing here, where I'm removing components as opposed to if I'm trying to stick components down. If I was putting new components on, it would be different. But if I'm actually removing components where I want a little bit more vroom, I've got this on the highest air setting that this station will do, which is 120. Don't ask me what the 120 stands for, whether it's an arbitrary thing or it's, you know, I don't know, sort of centimeters per second or some, I don't know. But I have this on the highest setting, 120 air, and I have this at the moment on 435 degrees C. Now that obviously does seem very, very hot, but you know, it's not necessarily 435 at the time that it hits the component on the board. So this board is too big for my desk. It will never be that my desk is too small. It'll always be that the board is too big. When I am popping components, when I am placing components using the hot air station, I tend to have the air turned down quite a bit so that I don't blow components away. So I turn the air down and I turn the heat up a little bit. So for example, if I was sticking down a little surface mount component, like something like these type things, like these, something like that. If I was sticking something like that down, I would have the air a lot lower. Right, so that, friends, is that. And I did manage to slightly melt this connector just here. I think I did it. I mean, it may have already been done by someone else, but I think I did that. Naughty me. It's my computer. I can melt it if I want to. Okay, there we go. No one will ever know. Righty, so that's all of the surface mount electrolytic caps off. We've got a couple of axial caps here, which probably don't need replacing at this stage. You probably find that these are still running well within their spec and are not leaking, but I am going to replace them just because. What I might do, with one of these I'm going to remove it how I would normally remove it. Now I'd normally do it as I snip one side, snip the second side, and then I remove each pin using the soldering iron. So, Jessica Ryan, hello, welcome to the stream. We've just been killing time till you got here. You'll be pleased to hear. Well, this Mac here is just one of your classic vintage sort of Macs with the surface mount electrolytic capacitors that have leaked onto the board. And there's plenty of evidence of that leakage. Now, having said that, this computer does work, apparently. The person who I bought it from said that it does work and wanted to charge me more because it works. Of course, little did I didn't bother to tell them I don't care whether it works or not. But nonetheless, it was still a good price. So yeah, this is just electrolyte leakage. Once we get around to cleaning them, you'll see the crud on there. You'll see that they're very noticeably leaking. And I have lost my solder wick. Here it is. Charlie's here. Hello, Charlie. Obfuscate. Lovely word, isn't it? Got that through. Come on. There's one of the most common questions that I get asked. Well, one of the more common questions that I get asked. What do I do in a situation like this where I'm having trouble getting solder out of a hole? And up until this point, what I would have said normally is get some new solder in there, get some fresh solder in there, maybe a bit of flux, potentially get apply some more heat to your iron so you can get all that solder melted, and then you'll eventually get it out. But we have a new tool in our arsenal now, which is one that I debuted on my last stream or maybe the stream before, and that is these solder needles. And I have already managed to not put one away. I'm terrible, aren't I? So when you're using these solder needles, the first thing you need to do is work out what size needle you should be using, and it needs to be able to fit through the hole. So this one is too big. That's a 1 mil. So I've got a 0.8 mil. Let's grab that. And that fits through the hole there. So the solder needle must be able to go through the hole. The solder needles are made out of stainless steel, so solder will not stick to them, and they are hollow. They're a little hollow. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can desolder the other capacitor using these solder needles. And the way we would do that is we heat this up, and then we try and get this to go through the hole but around the pins, and then I'll just see if I can do it with the iron to start off with, and then that pushes all the solder out of the way because it is stainless steel, and I'm having absolutely zero success here. Come on, come on. Oh, I bent my needle. That didn't work too well, did it? Might work a little bit easier bent, to be honest. What if I try it with some hot air? I'm going to great lengths to demonstrate a different way of doing this that is nowhere near as good as the other way. That's how we do things here. Yeah, it worked. Yippee-doo-dah. 'Cause Now I've got to get the thing out again. Eh. These solder needles are making my life a misery. Okay, so that's what I would be more inclined to use these solder needles for, because I'm still getting a feel for them myself. I mean, some of the things that I thought they would work quite well for, they don't work very well for. But what I think they do quite well is if you do have a hole, a soldery hole, with where you want to get some solder out of the hole, so there's no pin in there or anything like that, and you basically just want to poke a hole there. I think they work quite well for that. Off. Thank you. So what I mean by that is if I do it on this one here, so we've got the component is gone, but we're still left with a hole here. Was it this one? Crap, we're still left with a hole full of solder. Wasn't that one? It's that one. Yeah. So there we go. If we look, we've got a hole full of solder there. If I get this, apply some heat, I can then poke through and leave that hole open. So we're going to do that now. And I think that's where solder needles are really good. I'm talking gibberish at the moment. Where do you get them solder needles? I got them on eBay. I did a search for, I think, solder needles or hollow solder needles, something like that. If you just do Google, if you go to Google and you go solder needles, they come up with pictures of these little boxes. They look like this. They're like in Google colors. And they're cheap as chips. They're like $5 for a packet or something like that. And free postage. But as you can see, they work quite well to make an hole. That's the one I did first, and I think I'll still get a pin through there, but it's look at it. Look at that little blob of solder sticking out the end. Yeah, and I managed to do some damage to the trace as well. So yeah, they work great. Why not use a solder sucker? That's a very good question. Solder suckers work very well under certain circumstances. I find they don't work particularly well for clearing solder out of a hole that doesn't have a pin in it. So if you've got a pin in there and you put the solder sucker around it and it sort of sucks the solder out from either side of the pin, once the pin is gone, it's really hard to get the heat on the solder because the tip of a solder sucker is a little circle. And so when you put it onto that blob, it's heating around the outside but not heating down the middle of it. So I actually find solder suckers very difficult for getting solder out of a hole that doesn't have a pin in it. I think they're better for removing those. And the other thing is that their solder suckers, I think, are very good for removing through hole components like capacitors and resistors and stuff like that. I struggle a bit with solder suckers working with ICs or RAM slots. I've yet to find a foolproof way of getting a RAM slot off easily. So yeah. Can anyone help you? I don't know. Can anyone? Always just flux and add solder before sucking out. Yeah, that's they generally recommend against using flux with a solder sucker because it's likely to gum up when it gets sucked up. It's gum up the pipes, gum up the works. They generally say that if you're going to be solder sucking, you want to try and do it as dry as possible and not get flux into the mix. Having said that, I have done it with flux from time to time, but as I say, I mean, it's probably because I've got a cheap garbage station, but there are some times where I just feel like the solder sucker is just not doing anything for me at all. It's just a nightmare. Right, we can move on to the cleaning stage now. Some people like the cleaning stage, some people don't like the cleaning stage. This is basically where I get a bit of flux, get a bit of fresh solder, get a bit of heat, get a bit of movement, and we're going to get these pads looking like brand new again, all ready for new solder and new components. Now these ones really aren't too bad, so this isn't like if I was doing fume extractor. This isn't like if I was doing an SE30 or something, which is a little bit older, and you know these pads are likely to be a lot more crusty. These ones are actually looking pretty darn good. Not much cleaning needed at all. Cleaning stage is the beautiful stage. Well, they do come up beautifully at the end, don't they? All shiny and conscientious and ready for a new component. Little pad there saying, hey, I'm ready for work. Ow, ow. That's the second burn for today. Get away with less than 5, it's been a good day. See, look at that. How good do they look now? So lovely and shiny and ready for new components. Clean some of that gunk off. Mac Classic 2, replace the caps, still white box on the screen. What could be the problem? Well, Mac Classic 2 and the Mac Classic 1 for that matter, when you say you've replaced the caps, have you replaced the caps on both boards? That is the logic board and the analog board, because the Classic and Classic 2 have notorious leakage on both boards, so it's not just a matter of recapping the logic board. Oh, green. We got some green. Love a bit of green. The ultrasonic will get rid of all of that, which is nice. But it is just a sign when you look at something like this, when you got green appearing like that, give it enough time, it'll cause some pretty nasty damage. Cade Vicari, hello, g'day to you too. Use compressed air to empty out a through hole. How about that? Yeah, let's say, I've never tried that. I will give that a try, Dana. That's heat it up with a soldering iron and then just hit it with an air compressor to just push it out while it's still liquid, molten. We've got ourselves a little voltage regulator sitting right here in the familiar 3-pin with the little stumpy leg one here. They have a word for that, or code. I don't know what it is though. Needless to say, I go through quite a lot of solder wick doing this stuff. I have a local electronics store which is only a few minutes away from me, and pretty much every time I go there to buy something, I usually buy a spool of solder wick while I'm there. I use good wick. Hello, it's not bad wick, it's good wick, and I find it to be quite good. Cleaning. 2mm good wick by the box. Yeah, I also use 2mm. I've just found 2mm better than the other size. I just like it more. It's as simple as that. But yes, it's essential stuff. Same with flux. I just ordered another 3 tubes of flux the other day. It's on its way from the States. I'm onto my last tube now. I've still got probably 3/4 of it there, so it's not panic stations yet. Going to need to get some new solder soon too. My 1 pound roll, whatever a pound is, 1 pound roll is getting a little on the thin side. Certainly don't weigh a pound anymore. Now, did I tell people I bought a welder? I bought a welder. Hello, Horst. Horst is here. You missed my 2VX, so I'm here to live vicariously. No worries. Okay, so it was the last hurrah of the 030. And of course a very important thing to remember, I know you can't see this on the camera, but it's too hard for me to move it, so just imagine me removing solder using some wick. The other really interesting thing about the 2VX, I have mentioned this before, is it is the last of the Macintosh models to have a 2 or an II in front of it. From that point on, we then went on to Quadras and Performers and LCs and all that sort of stuff. We already had LCs, but LCs kept going for a while. We already had Quadras for that matter. But yes, they no more 2s. They said that's the end of the 030. No more 2s. 2VX was released 4 months before the Quadra Centra 650. When they were released, the price was slashed in half, so a lot of early adopters were angry. I'll bet they were. They weren't available for sale for very long. I think the VI in particular was hardly around at all. I think, did the VX and the VI get discontinued at the same time? I can't remember. But yeah, they weren't around for a long time. So you would think, oh, that'll make them very collectible, except that no one wants the bloody things. Yeah, I've got a 2VX for you. Would you like it? Ooh, nah. Ooh, nah. Okay, right. Okay, well that's all the caps off. So now it's all about putting caps on. Do I need a recapping guide for this? I'll grab one just in case, but I probably don't. Actually, I don't even know if I've got it in here. I'm not even sure if I've got it on the website. I know I've got a guide, I just may not have put it on the website yet. LC475. That looks like a Color Classic, yes. Color Classic 2, don't see many of those around. Macintosh TV. 2SI. Oh goodness, what's going on? 2VI. Well, I can use a 2VI because they're almost identical. Oh boy, oh boy. Ready for a nap. So we basically need 6 47 microfarad 16 and 2 220 microfarad 16 volt axials. Axial rows. Now, where are my caps? I did a bit of a tidy up the other day. There we go, surface mount tantalums. Excuse me, I better pull my pants up here. Don't want to flash everyone. We can do without that. That's not what people come to the stream for. Okay, there we go. Righty. Oh, that's 49 people watching at the moment. Good grief. Hello to everyone. If you haven't said hello, please say hello. Oh, Charlie sent me a super chat. It's coming up on screen. And now, donation towards your new welding hobby. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. For anyone who is wondering, I went with a MIG setup, and I am using flux core, so it's gasless MIG. And I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it. I've got all the speed dialed in, and I'm liking the look of my welds, and I am going to build something very soon. I've bought the metal for it. I'm planning to build a new stand for that camera that you can't see. It's the camera I use when I'm doing my pre-recorded videos, and eventually I will make it part of my streams as well, if this computer can handle it. This little guy down here, whose fans are going crazy. So, 6 caps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Replacing it with tantalums. Tants. Oh, look at that. Thank you very much, Jay. Jay doing the little advertising thing. I do appreciate it. And for that reason, I really should give a little shout out to Jay from the House of Moth. If you guys are not subscribers, please jump on subscribe and maybe watch some of his vids. You know, even if you don't like the content, watch it so he can get his 4,000 hours so that he can get monetized. So, but having said that, if you have any interest in OpenCore, the OpenCore Legacy patcher for getting Macs, older Macs to run newer versions of the operating system that they're not officially meant to be running, check out that Open Core Legacy Patcher video. It's what I used to set up my computer, and it went really, really well, very easy. Saved me from having to read any instructions. I just let Jay tell me how to do it. There was another thing I needed to shout out today, a really, really important one, and that is Tinker Different. I haven't mentioned Tinker Different in a while. Anyone here who has not signed up for Tinker Different, please do so. Tinkerdifferent.com. Tinkerdifferent.com. Just jump onto the website there if you haven't already joined. Sign up, become a member. It's a fantastic forum. We've got some incredibly smart people that are sharing their projects and helping answer questions for people who have problems. So jump on, become a member. Doesn't cost anything, and you just get to hang out with a bunch of really smart people. So yeah, tinkerdifferent.com. Now, time to start soldering some of these caps on. The first thing I did was I melted a little bit of solder onto the tip of my iron. I've got flux here on the board already, and that flux is going to help transfer that solder from the iron to the pad, like that. And I just hold it in place and clean it up a little bit. What I'm always aiming for when I'm putting these caps on is that they are centered and that they are straight. Because there is nothing worse than looking at a recap afterwards and seeing crooked caps. They just stick out and they scream at you. They go, "Crooked! Look at me, I'm crooked!" So I've soldered one side of each, and now I go back and solder the second side. I should spin the board around, but the board's huge and I'm lazy. These are two things contributing to me not actually spinning the board around and just leaving as it is. For people who are new, if you are watching this stream for the first time, you might be looking for soldering tips or something like that. I just want to mention that I solder in a particular way. It's not necessarily the way other people solder, it's the way I solder. It's the way I like to solder, it works for me. I solder with a very, very high heat, and I solder fast. I get in and out. I do sort of temperature regulation with the amount of time that I leave the iron there. And it means that I don't end up melting anything because the iron's only there for a short amount of time. But the iron does exactly what I want it to do because I'm just used to working at that sort of temp. It's something that it takes a little bit of practice. I'm not saying that, you know, to do that as your first soldering adventure. Maybe start with a lower temperature. But if you're wondering why solder works in a particular way when I use it, that's why. That's why. And flux is your friend. How are you doing for supply of tents? Because the world seems to be out of stock. I just got a load from eBay because Mouse and DigiK are just out of everything. Last time I did an order, I didn't have any problem, but now you're scaring the bejesus out of me. Did you say the website was, it was Tinker, as in tinkering with something? So just quick explanation. Apple had a, you know, an advertising campaign all those years ago of Think Different. And then we just had a slight play on words with that, as in tinker, as in tinkering. It created a fair bit of amusement for some people, particularly in the US, because tinker sounded very similar to tinkle. And apparently in America, people use the word tinkle to describe going to the bathroom. So it's not something that we just use, it's not a term we use out here, so that didn't necessarily occur to me, but apparently some people did think that. So anyhow, Steve from Mac84 fame, he's the one responsible for coming up with the name Tinker Different. He's also the one responsible for the little Tinker Different logo. And he is also the vice president of the Tinker Different board. How about that? How about that? So, 3 more caps to go. I just have to figure out where they are. Oh, here's 2. Righty. We've got some really, really smart cookies sharing some amazing stuff there on Tinker Different. I mean, just to give you an idea, when I first when I first started using Tinker Different, one of the first posts that I put on there was, "Hi everyone, I've got this situation. I'm building these SCSI to SD PowerBook edition, but I don't have a functional PowerBook. I do, in fact, but I don't have a cable that works." And I said, I really need a way of testing these PowerBook SCSI drives on a non-PowerBook computer. And like literally within a couple of minutes, there was a response going, "Hey, here's a prototype PCB board I made, which is an adapter that goes from the smaller pins of the SCSI, like this, one of these. Is an adapter that goes from these little pins to a full-size SCSI, and I got the PCB made, built one, and I am still using it to this day. It's absolutely fantastic. And just to get a response like that was just so helpful and so quickly, I was like, yeah, this is a good thing we have here. And it's not just Macs. You know, we focus to all different types of computey, tinkery type stuff. If you happen to be someone interested in old Sinclairs or the old VIC-20 or any one of those old computers, even PCs. Sorry, I know there are a lot of people that use PCs, I'm just not one of them. Okay. And I use them sometimes when I have to, but not by choice. And I apologise, I haven't looked at the chat for a little while now, so there's probably all sorts of chattery going by. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm really kind of freaked out now about that whole thing you said about capacitors there, because I really don't want to hear that. I don't want to know that I can't get them. Someone lied to me. Someone lied to me and told me there are heaps around. Now, my guide says there are 6 caps, but I'm buggered if I... Oh, no, there it is. Found it. Found it. Just higher. I'll have to pull this out a bit. Right there. A little bit of fluxaroni on there. Oh, fudge. I'm hoping I'll be able to fire this up and test it. I'm pretty sure I have everything I need here to fire it up and test it. That one look crooked to you. There we go. Can't be having crooked. Okay, so that's all of the surface mount electrolytics on. I'm just going to quickly inspect and make sure that I did solder them all and got them all in the right place. Not too many to worry about, so that's good. Yeah. Okay, so then we've just got our axial capacitors. So if anyone's not sure what the word axial is all about, it means the pins come out either side, rather than 2 coming out on the same side, you know. So they are the 2 different types. If I can find, no, all the caps are up there, bugger. So when you have a capacitor with 2 pins coming out the bottom, they call that radial, and then when the pins come out either side, that's axial. Ain't that the truth? I'm just going to check and make sure that, yeah, we're all good. Everything's fine. Just need to make sure. Every now and again, one of my fellow Maciacas sends me a message during my streams to say something like, "There's no sound," or something like that, or "It's the wrong camera," and a message just came through, and I just want to make sure it wasn't one of those sorts of messages. Caps. Ugh. Gosh. Just checking, just checking. Yeah. Okay, so we need 220s. Ooh, geez, I'm running low. I'm going to need to buy some. How did that happen? How did that happen? Answer me that. 10 microfarad 25. Don't even have a label for those. Gosh. I feel that one day these axials, you just won't be able to buy them anymore. They'll be gone. And then we'll have to start bending the pins of through holes over and stuff like that. Not ideal. I'm pretty sure you can run these without these two caps I'm about to put on, and the computer will work. Oopsie crikey. All right. So I've got a little pin bendery thing here so I can make them all look straight and neat and tidy. Yes, sirree. Which occasionally I make an absolute fool of myself and bend them on the wrong one, and then they don't look pretty anymore because I have to bend them straight again and then bend them again, and that's not the purpose. All right, it's that one. It's not open enough. Let's get the old wick and we'll get the rest of that. I can't fit the pin through the hole. There we go, that should work now. Adam McGee, hello and welcome. Okie dokie. Right, there's that one. And then we will do the same with the next one. There we go. All right, looking beautiful. So now we're just going to solder these guys down. Oh wow, okay. That's nifty. I like that guy. Soldering some pins. There's one. There's two. You can't see that, I know, because it's right in the corner. There we go. And there's that one. And then there's that one. All right, so that is our two axial caps. And then I will, in a moment, change the view and we can see the board all recapped. Top view. There we go. Look at that. How good does it look? So we've replaced all of those electrolytics with axials. We've still got a lot of gunk on here which needs to be cleaned off in the ultrasonic, which will be done, but we'll fire it up and just hope for the best. As I said, the person said it works, so I am expecting it will still work. Let's put some lamb in it, Black Benny. Okay. Missing one stick. There it is. Is that the missing stick? Is that your card? Yep, they look like they're a match. Okay. All right, okay, I'm getting caught up reading the chat here. I'm gonna need to stop. All right, so we're gonna put these RAM sims in and we're going to fire it up. So I've got this one here. It's kind of big fat ones. One, 2, 3, 4, click, and then we've got a VRAM, and then another VRAM. We do have a battery. I'm not going to bother putting that in yet. I don't see much point. And we need a power supply. How about you? You look like you're up for it. I have no idea if this power supply works. Well, it says 2VI written on it, so close enough. So this would typically sit in a cradle, like a metal cradle which holds the hard drive and the floppy drive, and it pokes in at the back, and then you can lift it up. Yeah, but I don't have the cradle here, so we're just going to get a little bit creative with this. So that's just power supply is plugged in. Should I rest it on something? Should I? There goes a bit of plastic. I'll rest it on a bit of plastic, just like that. Okay, so there we've got a power supply. That's a good start. What else are we going to need? We're going to need a keyboard, which is sitting here underneath my Apple IIc. Come on, keyboard. Excuse me. So let's connect up keyboard to VAR. I'll just put him to one side for the moment. Now we need some form of boot device. I've got two options here. I'm going to grab whichever one my hand is closest to, and the winner is Blue Scuzzy today. Could have been a Blue Scuzzy, could have been a Scuzzy 2SD. Blue Scuzzy won the award because it was closest to my hand. And plug that in there, so we've got something to boot from. And what else do we need? I think we need a screen, don't we? We're going to be able to look at stuff. Here's a screen. I'll need to change this because I've had this on, what do you call it? On a different input for the old Apple IIc. For me playing games on my 2C, which I'm probably going to do this afternoon if I have time. I'd love to play some games on the 2C. Then I need a cable. This cable was MIA for ages, but I found it. Joyous times. Okay, plug that in. Very fiddly, isn't it? There's a lot to do to get this tested. Better work. And then we'll connect that up to here. I have an adapter connected to this, which is a sync-on green adapter, so it's one that you would use if you were going to be using an original LC, original 2CI, original 2SI. They all have that sync-on green output, and so you need those particular adapters for that. Just be aware that some of those adapters that you buy don't do the sync-on green thing, and having said that, some screens don't either. Pretty impressive that this little tiny 7-inch screen does, but that was just lucky. My scaler doesn't do it. My frickin' scaler doesn't do it. Not happy about that. All right, so coming out of this, 240 volts, fine AC volts. Yeah, they're probably not. It's probably more like 232 or something like that. That's last time I tested it. I'll plug that in. Right, all the pieces are in place for testing. So how's everyone feeling? Are we all feeling confident? We think it'll work? Something like this. I'm just looking at all this conversation about mini DIN sockets. All right, let's go. We ready? I'm going to do it with a keyboard. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I didn't connect a speaker, so no chime. Sorry, folks. So how disappointing. No chime. Without a speaker. But anyhow, we'll pretend it chimed. I reckon this speaker. Speaker's a bit worse for wear. Don't worry about those lines, by the way. I can get rid of those. Menu. Down. Auto config. Auto config. And OK. There we go. Line's gone. Now, what's it saying? What's it saying? What's it saying? It's saying something. Go away, go away, go away. I know what it's saying. It's saying that I need a different version of System 7.1. There is a different version of 7.1 for this. So startup disk will not work on this Macintosh model. Use the latest installer to update disk for this model, System 701. Okay, so I've got System 701 on this one. I need 7.1. So here's what we'll do. We'll shut them down. We will connect a speaker up to it. I'm going to use this one here. I need to solder this on because it's come away. Need a lot of flux because that is really dirty. There we go. Oh my God, it didn't solder. I soldered everything but the wire. That's how dirty it is. I should just cut it and redo it. Come on. Yeah, I got it. That's enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be testing. Testing good enough. Now this speaker is in a terrible state, but it will still be good enough for this test. It should still make a noise. So get rid of that. I do actually have another system on this. It's on a different drive, but I would need to fiddle around to get that to work. I'm pretty sure this one will default onto System 7.1. So let's try that. And do it with the power button this time. I'll put my microphone nice and close. Yeah, you can hear it. I mean, it was there. I heard it, you probably didn't. And one of the reasons for that is that, I don't know if you can see this speaker, but all the way around there, that's broken. So this is all broken. Broken. We'll fix it one day, but what are those drives? Are you referring to these things that I'm using here? These are SCSI drive emulators. So, and what I mean by that is they emulate a SCSI hard drive. So they allow you to use what do you call them, an SD card, which I have here. An SD card gets to pretend to be a SCSI hard drive. Now, because no one makes SCSI hard drives, I've got a complete white screen here. What's going on? I'm going to reboot it. Did we get one shot at it, do we? That's a Brankus repair. It works once. It is quite curious. So what I've got going on at the moment is it's like it's stuck in the RAM test. There might be something wrong with one of these memory sticks or something like that. So anyhow, yeah, just to reiterate, SCSI hard drives, small computer system interface, no one makes them anymore. So there are now these drive emulators. So this one is a Blue SCSI DB25 external. This one is a SCSI 2SD version 5.5 external. So they both basically do the same thing with SCSI 2SD versus Blue SCSI. I am going to switch this off because clearly nothing is happening. And I'm going to take this off and then switch it on again and see if it does something. I really don't want to do any diagnostics on this at all. I really don't. I can't even begin to tell you how much I don't want to do Oh, it's fine. Okay, so for some reason, I've done something to this. It doesn't like the, I wonder if it's something to do with the card. It doesn't like the SCSI 2SD at the moment. We'll try it again. Because, you know, we have to. And then if worst comes to the worst, I will reconfigure my Blue SCSI. Okay, now I got a light on at that time. I don't think it did that before. Oh, yep, we got it that time. We're all good. I think we're good to go. It's going to boot happily into System 7.1 now, I think. It's blinking, so that's all. Yep, there we go. Happy face. You can't see the happy face because of it's bright. Let's see if we can turn the brightness down. Brightness. Oh, brightness is already down. Turn the contrast down, maybe that'll help. That's helped a little. I think that's a little bit more visible now. You can see welcome to Macintosh. So, yay, it's working. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. SCSI is amazing. I would agree with that. I still don't have one, and I must get one. So for anyone who's not aware of the SCSI, it's one where you use a Raspberry Pi with a little add-on board, a little hat. And the really important thing about it is that not only does it give you, sort of turn it into a hard drive, it has a whole bunch of extra features in there. It's got, I think, a web interface where you can configure it, so you can actually log into your SCSI via your local network with a web browser and configure it, do configuration on the fly sort of thing. You can set it up to be I think it was a Dana Ethernet to SCSI device. So that means that if you've got an old computer like say a Macintosh SE, Macintosh SE or an SE30 that doesn't have a network adapter, you can run your network through the SCSI. And I think there's even talk about it doing external displays as well, isn't there? I'm not sure. I mean, it's something that's advancing very, very quickly. The downside to it is, of course, you're using a Raspberry Pi, which is an incredibly powerful little piece of computer. You're using that as a hard drive. You're essentially using a little Raspberry Pi which has like 100 times the speed and power of these vintage computers, and you're using that as just a hard drive. It's kind of like, talk about demotion for the poor thing. But the advantage is that it can pretend to be lots and lots of different SCSI devices, not just hard drives. So, didn't Macintosh Librarian do a video about SCSI? Yes, I think she did. Oh, really? Okay. Well, there's still Raspberry Pis available here, so fingers crossed. Oh, well, there were last time I was in there, and that was only like last week. I have a local electronics reseller. I talk about it all the time because I buy things from them. They're called JCar here in Australia. They're a chain, and there's one very, very close by, and because they sell Raspberry Pis there, and I always see them behind the counter. You can real-time mount and dismount. Dismount. I never even thought of using that word for not mounting a drive. I've always used unmount, but dismount, sure, why not? Yeah. So anyhow, it's a really good time to be part of the vintage computer community with all this amazing stuff happening. I think it is more than just, one of the things that has happened relatively recently, I'm not going to say super recently, but relatively recently, is the ability to incredibly cheaply get PCBs made. Once upon a time it was quite a costly process, or you might have done a bit of work yourself, but because some people have done their own etching and stuff like that. But these days, the fact that you can get 5 or 10 boards made up for, virtually pocket change, it's given a lot of people the ability to go in and, make their own stuff or reverse engineer stuff or make copies of adapters or whatever the case may be. And so it's a really, really good time at the moment with that level of creativity. You've got these people that are teaching themselves how to make PCBs, going and getting them made, and then going, wow, look at what I've made here. And then you also have things like 3D printing becoming, cost effective. You can buy a 3D printer now for a couple of $100 brand new, and that gives people the ability to go in and remake bezels, remake feet for keyboards, remake power buttons, all that sort of stuff. So it's a really, and of course there's an incredible sense of community going on as well with people sharing stuff around. So it's a really, really good time, I think, to be part of this, this vintage computer hobby. With all of these amazing contributions going out there. I mean, there was a time when it came to the SCSI emulator that it was SCSI 2SD, that was it. Now SCSI 2SD is a very mature product. It's been around for a long time. It's very refined. It's compatible with lots and lots of devices. But we've got a situation now where there are so many alternatives. There's, I think, what is it, Max SCSI or something like that, RA SCSI, Blue SCSI. We've got all of these different options. And of course, keeping in mind also with SCSI 2SD, the earlier versions of that are still public domain type thing. Sort of, was it GNU license stuff where you can go in and make it yourself. Go buy the components and build it. May I post an example of a project made possible by open source hardware and cheap PCBs? You may. Are you not a mod? If you're not a mod, I'll make you one. Just a sec. Just a sec. Hang on. Be right with you. I need to go to YouTube. YouTube. Oh look, I got the other little toasters. And then I need to go to content, and then I need to go to live, and then I need to give everyone my password. And we go to that. And then we go to, so I'm just loading up the thingies because I use the chat in Ecamm Live, which is the software I use for streaming, and it does not allow me to do all of the modding type stuff. Oh, he's already a mod. He's posted it. There it is. Awesomeness, awesomeness. Okay, so there we go. That's all done. You have posted it, and the world is a better place. Just out of curiosity, what project was it? Voice of God. Retro Techie, I'd like to be a mod. You know what, Retro Techie? I'm going to make you a mod. You've only asked like 85 times. And add moderator. There you go. There you go, Retro Techie. You're a mod. Don't abuse the power. Oh, the SE-VGA adapter. I have got to get that. How cool is that? So yeah, wow. Okay, so here's what I have planned. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's going to be doing that. I have got, and I imagine you'd probably be able to modify the SE adapter to work for the Plus as well, I think. But anyhow, I have this idea of, putting an LCD screen into one of those compact Mac cases, and then, running the original board, excuse me, but with an LCD screen. And I imagine that adapter would allow you to do that. So now I'm very quickly just going to check and see how much RAM we've got in here, and then I will probably start closing things down, and we might just have a look at a couple of things. I know it's a short one. I normally like to go for 2 hours and only be going for an hour and a half. Okay, so I've got 8 megs of RAM. So I've got 4 in the slots here. I've got 4 on board, gives us a total of 8 megs of RAM, which is all right. But of course, this one can take a lot more than that. I think you can stick 4 16s into one of these, so which would give you 68 in total. Polish an acrylic part just to simulate the CRT curvature. Yeah, I would probably 3D print something to fit into the gap for the CRT curvature. Start on the other 2C. All right, yeah, we'll do that, because as I say, I'd like to go for 2 hours and I've only gone for an hour and a half. So let's have a look at the other 2C and see what that's doing. Which is nothing at the moment, but All right, let's shut this down. I'm sitting there looking and go, what do I do next? I've got to shut it down. Bing, bang, bong. There we go. So, another 2VX saved. And I can see at some stage in the future, the 2VX will probably start getting a little bit more love. You've got this situation at the moment where everyone is just, charging the earth for for vintage Macs, and I sort of feel like as that happens, people will start selling their 2VXs, and people will be able to get hold of a vintage Mac for a little bit cheaper because, yeah, again, people aren't paying that much for 2VXs. And yet, for some reason, I have 3. I have 3 2VXs and a 2VI. I mean, what? What? I don't need 3. I'm definitely going to be selling one. And I will charge exorbitant eBay prices. It's going to be Mr. Polka Dots big time. The 2VX. I know what I have. Rare. Steve Jobs licked this 2VX. I vaguely remember something about some sort of promotional event, you know, like the Apple events that they have with Wozniak actually was promoting the 2VX, I think. All right, so let's put him over here because I can't be bothered getting up. So he's just going to rest there. And let's get a look at the other 2C. I don't know why there's a mallet there, but there's a mallet on the ultrasonic cleaner. A rubber mallet. Okay. Steve Jobs' rare look. I saw it was on one of the forums the other day. Other people here probably saw it. Someone selling a Performer, what was it, a 5600 or 5500 or something like that. It was one of the Performer all-in-ones. And they were selling it in the box for $1,500, I think. I think that was the asking price they had. You know, rare in-box vintage Performer. And it's like, Performer? $1,500? Are you serious? He's updated the VGA to XGA. He's upscaling the 512/342 to 1024x684 and adding bars to fit the image into a 1024x768 display. Who is doing this? I've got to go and look at it. We're Tinker Different, people. Clever folks on Tinker Different sharing this stuff with the world. What a great time to be alive. Apart from the whole COVID thing. A little bit dirty. It's not my fault. This arrived dirty, so I just haven't cleaned it. We've got ourselves another dirty keyboard here. Seemingly good condition. Couple of handles. We've got 2 handles. That's because we've got 2 cases. 1 case per handle. Okay. You can't handle the truth. Okay, so here we have our unhappy 2C. Let's just see what happens if we switch it on. I'll connect up video so we can see what it's showing us. Oopsie. Don't know what that noise is. Right, so this one probably needs an ultrasonic clean as well. My wife just scared the hell out of me then. Popped in to say goodbye because she's heading out. And I'd heard some noise. I'd heard some tapping, and I was, what's that noise? That was her walking towards. Okay, no worries. Calm. Right, so connecting up some power. This is going to go straight into self-test mode because I don't have a keyboard connected. We do have a little speaker there connected, and this is going to, I think, do nothing. What is giving us, oh actually, you know what I didn't do? I didn't change the source. Source, AV1, that's the one. And we've got 10 different types of nothing going on. Still waiting on that video. Yeah, well, I'm still working on it. Every time I sit down, I do like, I don't know, several hours worth of work on the thing, and then I look at it and think, I've still got so much more to go. It's a monster of a thing, but I'm getting there. I will finish it one day. I mean, I'm adding bits to it. Right. Oh my God, this is incredible. Yes, there is some lovely patina on this one. Look at that. By the way, hello, Elemento. I didn't see you arrive, but you have arrived. And hello, and I don't think I said hello to Ezekiel Blah either. Yeah, it is. It's Jay's fault. It's definitely Jay's fault. It was sold to that guy the same day for $100. He then put it for sale the same day for $1,500. What a twerp. What a twerp. Okay, right. So this is completely dead. Absolutely, completely, and every other way dead. Nothing going on. Nothing. And there's a missing thing. Character generator. It's not there. That's probably going to change things. Internal power supply. Yes, I have. But I just realised that I probably need to put the character generator in there as well, don't I? Oh, wow. Whoa. There's some heat in that. This one here, this third one along, this ARD5 RAM there, that is as hot, and oh, that's the one next to it. Hang on, I've got to get the FLIR out for that so you can all see it. Yeah, it says car gen, so I assume it's character generator. Here it is. Here's me FLIR. So let's switch him on. And then we will go to the FLIR 1 software. I don't know what FLIR stands for, so don't ask. NT dead RAM. So I will replace these ones that are getting hot. So power is off at the moment, but look at the residual heat going on there. Can you see that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. But in particular, one of them was particularly hot. So I've just switched it on. And geez, you could boil an egg on that. Oh, wow, look at this one. Is it that one? Oh, it's that one. Ow, oh, far out, that hurts. That is, come on. Yeah, it's like 70 degrees Celsius. So, right, we have to replace some of these, I think. What do you think? Flinfrared. All right. Have you tried? Yeah, no, sorry, I've done that. Yes, I have tried swapping the power supply out from the other one. I did it not recently, but I did. That was one of my very first diagnostic steps. I don't know I was pretty sure this was complete when I got it. So did I take this out? And if so, where did I put it? And if so, what does it look like? And if so, where is it gone? But anyhow, I can swap that out of the other one. So, knowing that we've got like that one there and a whole bunch here that are blazingly hot. What are you thinking? So, like, should I just take the hot ones out first? So I'll swap this one out, this guy here, because he was the blazingly hot one. I'll replace him, and then we'll see what happens, eh? Self-test might still work if you install a character generator. All right, well, I'm going to install one. I'm going to do what Adam says. Oh, excuse me. And let's get the character generator. Are these character generators still available? I mean, can I get one from somewhere? I wonder. So here's the thing. If the other one came with one, why would I have taken it out? Answer me that. Right, going to switch it on and just see what happens. No output at all. So it's not outputting a signal at all. No. AV1, no signal. So, all right. So we tested it with the signal generator in place and it did not work. So I am going to I'm going to replace this RAM sim, the one that was getting boiling hot. No beep. Oh. What is it going to take to convince you this is dead, Adam? Okay. The volume wasn't all the way up, but it wasn't all the way down either, so we should have been able to hear something. This does need it clean. This is so dirty. It's so dirty. And besides, it's time for me to swap some components out. That's what I do. That's my thing. So we want this one. Let's get rid of some solder. Solder. I say take them all out one by one. And if they are seated right, that might help. Well, I'm going to, this extremely hot RAM sim, I want it gone. I just want it gone. So I'm going to remove it. I'm going to be doing this with solder wick rather than the solder sucker. It's the same as I did last time. Main reason why I'm doing it that way is because the sucker is a bit of a pain when the pins aren't all upstanding. And with these, microscope view, the pins are bent over. So it's a bit of a pain. So I'll use wick. And truth be told, the solder actually comes out pretty easily from these ones because they're nice big holes in relation to the size of the pin. So the solder's got plenty of room to travel around to come out the hole. Hello, Angular Momentum. I don't know how much time I can stay, but I caught you live and I thought I'd say hi. I say hi right back to you. And thank you for joining. I appreciate that sometimes life does not allow us the opportunity to sit and watch live streams. I know I can say that for certain myself because, boy, there are lots to watch. And only a limited amount of hours in the day to watch them. I try and watch as many as I can. Oh, melty plastic. Hate that smell. Whoopsie. Was on Facebook today, a little comment got pointed out to me by, I think it was Jay pointed it out, I'm not sure, of someone who was seeking help from someone. I don't know if they were seeking help on the forum or seeking help elsewhere, but they said, it was the Mac Pro forum, and I was saying, my hard drive won't come up on the desktop, and so someone told me to try and mount it, and if that doesn't work, erase it. And this person's just posted, so I've erased it, and now all my data's gone. And you've got to sympathise, because it's clearly someone who didn't really understand what they were being asked to do, but the word erase is fairly unambiguous, you know what I mean? And I noticed Jay put in a very, very helpful comment in that because of the kind person that he is. He did try and help that person. in terms of sorting out some data recovery. I know this is off camera, I apologise that the board doesn't quite fit. Okay, will I be able to get this RAM sim out now? Gentle and kind to the core, that's what they always say. Those two words, gentle and kind, and then they follow it with J from the House of Moth. Always. It's just how it goes. Out. Okay, so it's not quite releasing yet. So I'm going to hit it with a little bit of hot air as I continue to coax it out. Get myself some tweezers. We're very close. There's just one or two pins that are still grabbing. Out she comes. Okay, so it's even hotter now. So that one I put over there because it's bad. It's the bad spot. Bad chips go there. Yeah, it's a bit messy. So one of the things that does, oh geez, I've still got my bloody FLIR thing on. Switch that off, eh? What a waste of battery. There we go. Off, off, off. It's not MT branded RAM. Well, it could be bad because I accidentally killed it. It's Mitsubishi by the looks of it. Mitsubishi. Socket. Socket to me. There they are. Here they are. I'm going to have to buy more of this RAM, you know. I'm burning through it. In goes the socket. Things like these sockets are things that I'm able to buy at my little local electronics store. It's very, very handy when you're doing a repair and you might run out of something. You can just go up the road to grab a replacement. Not the case with, you know, a lot of these components, but there's some things I can. Right, socket. Yes, this is the board that had 12 volt and the 5 volt rail. I should mention that it wasn't working before that. So it's not like I took a working board and broke it. I took a broken board and broke it even more. It's the Brankus way. Oh, you've fallen through. Stop it. Out. I went to the zoo the other day. Nothing to do with this computer, I just thought I'd mention it. I went to the zoo the other day. Kind of nice. Seeing all the animals. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. But I bet you fried the CPU, which would keep it from beeping or displaying any video. Yeah, I probably did. I don't even know which one the CPU is, to be honest. These old, there it is, it's down the bottom. All right, okay. So what we're going to do now, I really should go and check all of these RAM chips because I know that not all of them are good. But I'm going to put this on, and we're going to FLIR it, and we're going to see if it looks any better now. All right, that's one chip replaced. So I don't really need the rest of the case, although I might for the BIP, yeah? Oops, I dropped my microphone. Like that, and then that. And then that, and then that. So we've got no speaker, so we're not going to hear a bip. But honestly, you're not expecting anything to work. So I mainly just want to see if after replacing that chip, it stops going all hot on me. Yep, that's it. Right, and battery 23%. I better charge it up soon. So come on, there we go. Right, so they're still showing some heat because of the soldering that I did. We'll cool up that end. I did have some cold spray, but I don't think I have it anymore. I can always just stick some ISO on it. I'll cool it down. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna switch it on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hot. Then we have one that's not, and then we have one that is, and then one that's not, and then 2 that are. But the one that was hot before, this one here, it's not hot anymore. So it becomes fairly clear to me that I have got a lot of these to replace. And what else? What are we getting any? We're getting a little bit of heat here at the thing. CPU, no heat at all. A little bit at this one, a little bit at this one. So I've definitely got some heat in some places here. But most of the heat coming from these, ouchies, hot RAM thing there. Bad RAM wouldn't lead to output. Would lead to no output though, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, because I really don't know these machines really well. But this here is the RAM, this section here, the 8 down here. And then there's 8 up here. That does something else. I'm not sure though. It can have 16 bad RAM chips and it should still beep. That's interesting. All right, well, let's connect a speaker so that we can at least know if it's beeping. Everyone will be happy, especially Adam. Does this speaker even work? Let's just check that, shall we? Because I don't know that this has ever beeped, so. Keeping in mind that the one that I was working on last time, that didn't beep straight up. Oopsie. That didn't beep until I started fiddling around with the RAM. But yeah, not to worry. We are going to go to continuity, actually resistance, and I'm getting about 10 ohms. And it is an 8 ohm speaker, so that's good. So the speaker still seems to be good. So let's connect it up. Crikey. There we go. And yes, so I need to remind people that this was not working before I broke it. So I don't want people just sort of assuming that the 5 volt, 12 volt rail thing is the only thing wrong with it. It did have other things wrong. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my goodness, that was way harder than it should have been. Way harder. Right, so speaker is now connected. I am going to plug in the power, we're going to switch it on, and we're going to hear if it goes beep. Nope. Right, so shall we swap over the CPU with the good one? Yep, I did break it, but it was already broken. That is the correct course of events. So I will get the other board and we will pop in the CPU from that one and we see if we get a beep. I don't think we will, but I'm happy to try. Where'd my bloody chip puller go? Piffle. I'll have to use this crappy one. Okay, here's a super yo. Oh my God. What the? That is in there. I really need to find my other CPU puller. I mean, it was here because I used it just moments ago. I mean, it's got to be right in front of me and I'm just not seeing it. There it is. Check the 5 volt first. CPU, MMU and IU should be socketed. Swap them all. Swap them all! Okay. I can't even remember if I ultrasonicked this one. This one may not have even been cleaned. It's such a long time ago I got it. And then when I realised I had absolutely no floppy disks, I kind of lost interest. But I've got the floppy EMU now, so. All right, so CPU, MMU, IOU. Now, should all of these chips be bad, will I be able to get replacements for them? Hey! Riddle me that. Need to bend this pin back into shape that I just bent the bejesus out of. There we go. Board has coffee spill on the motherboard, does it? Anything is possible. I should change view here. This is a stupid view for what I'm doing at the moment. Looking at a great big blurry thing there. There's a lot of dirt on it. From another Apple IIc. Oh, okay. So I need to have another Apple IIc. I don't want to buy another Apple IIc. Okay, this is the MMU. Got to get the old MMU chip in here. We know these work because we've just pulled it from a working machine. Okay, and then last and probably least, IOU. Input Output Unit. I assume that's what it stands for. It's really cruddy. I say a good ultrasonic clean could definitely get us well on the way with this one. Apart from that whole 12 volty, 5 volty thingy. Right, so switch it on and see if we get a bip. Okay, I've replaced these three. Are you sure 5 volt is okay? Ah, yeah, reasonably sure. I'm sort of semi-sure, quasi-sure. We will check. Okay, so where have we got? We've got a negative somewhere. That looks negative. Okay, we ready? Switch them on. 4.94. 19.34. Does this have a 20 volt rail? But the 5 volt is 4.94. I didn't get a beep, by the way. No beep. We'll get the old fleur out. We still have that obscene heat going on up this end here. Plenty of heat up there. And exactly the same appearance of the heat of these other chips. So we're replacing those ones as the same. Now here's what I'm going to do as just part of all the fun and games that we're having here, because we are having fun and games, aren't we? Yes, absolutely. Looking at the way that the viewers have dropped off, yeah, having great fun. So yeah, 20 volts, no 20 volt at all. So isn't that a little bit curious that I'm getting 20 volts? Well, I'm getting 20 volts there. I assume that's a test pad right there. So I'm going to just for fun, okay? So bear with me on this, please. I'm going to put these chips in the good one and see if it works, okay? So that we can establish at least whether those chips are good. I'll have to take the character generator out again, but this is the fun part, yeah? We all love this. Excuse me. Whoops, what did I just drop? Looks like a RAM chip. Not sure what it's used for. Okay, fair enough. Well, at least the 5 volt rail was giving me 5 volts, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Yeah, well, yeah. I appreciate that this. So what I will say, Adam, about you saying I don't understand why. I hope that means you're thinking about it and possible answers, because I don't know why either. So if you're there sort of thinking, you know what, it could be this, I would love to hear what you have to say about it, because, you know, I got no idea. I mean, I don't really mind. I don't actually need two Cs. One is enough for me. But if I get the second one working, I would like to sell it. I mean, not for silly money, but, you know, I mean, I'm spending time on it. I would like to sell it to someone who will get some joy from it. So this pin got bent. And I'm just gently unbending it. You know, just if I can get, it's the same with the 2VX. I mean, if I can get that fixed and working and then into the hands of someone who's going to enjoy it, that's what it's all about. Okay, so there's the input output. Yeah. So Jay doesn't have a great deal of love for these old computers. Now this, I mean, because these are even older than old. I mean, I don't normally work on ones this old. Don't like the look of that. But anyhow. So this is the CPU going in. So, okay, just a quick recap of what's going on here. This is my known good board that we just had before running Montezuma's Revenge on it. I have taken the CPU from the bad board and the MMU, the Memory Management Unit, and the IOU, and I have put them into my good one. So, chips taken from bad one, put into good one. And the idea being that if it works, we know those chips are okay, and so we know that's not the fault. Okay. Got that there. Got that there. And let's connect the power up. I'm fully expecting this not to work, but, you know, got to try. Okay, so we're all connected, power, everything, and okay. Well, that's kind of a good thing. What we've established now is that the CPU, MMU, and IOU are working on the other one. So that's a really good sign. So we know that those parts are not damaged. So, do you have the matching 2C monitor, and have you ever recapped one? Adrian, I do have the matching 2C monitor, not the little LCD one, but the little green one. However, it is not currently in my possession. One came up for a really good price on eBay, but it was in Melbourne, which is in Victoria, which is the state below me, and my sister and brother-in-law live there. I contacted them and I said, look, is this location close enough for you to grab it? And they said, yeah, that's quite close to where we live. So my brother-in-law headed over and picked up the monitor with the stand, so the little 2C green screen with the little stand, and that is at my sister and brother-in-law's house in Melbourne. And next time I drive down there, I'll be bringing it back with me. Could you test the ROM also? Certainly. It's the chip next to the CPU marked MON. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it in the fashion of taking it from that board and putting it into the known working board, because to me that's the best way of isolating a specific chip to see if it works. So I'm going to do that now. So you say MON, you say. There it is, I see him, hello. MON. So that's a chip that works on Monday but no other day. Okay, MON comes out from the good one. And MON comes out from the bad one. Bad MON, good board. Okay, I've done it. I've done it. And okay, so what did we learn from that? Now, admittedly, we were getting video where we weren't getting video on the other one, but I'm just giving this a bit of a wiggle because these pins looked a bit ugly. I just want to make sure that we are making proper contact. Now, I guess the one good thing about a bad ROM chip is there are probably clever clogs out there replicating them. So, yeah, okay. Well, we can definitely say that it's got a bad ROM chip. So, what if I put the good ROM chip in the other one? What's going to happen? Will something happen? I need to get the bloody screen generator back again. Good ROM chip. Into the bad computer. Character generator. I only have one character generator to go around, so we have to share. You can swap that with an EEPROM. Cool. I just need to find someone with an EEPROM programmer. I've been meaning to get one. It's really slack of me that I haven't. Okay, so we've got that, that. Okay, so we're still getting nothing, and I imagine we're still getting some excruciating heat from these chips. Yes, we are. They're getting hot awful quick. So, okay, we know it's got a bad ROM chip, but it's got other problems as well. Have to figure out why. Hang on, I'm confused now. No, it's all right. All good. Character generator worksheets to show text. Yeah, well, that were the character generators from the good one. I've only got one character generator, and that's from the good computer. So, so this is the good computer. Yeah, okay. I just don't want to get these mixed up. You know what I mean? The bad one's the one with the patina. Right, so we know we have a bad ROM chip. That's been confirmed. We also have additional problems going on over here with all these RAM chips getting obscenely hot, and we still don't know what the cause of that is. But I do feel like we have made some progress today. I don't want to expect too much of the day. Expect too much and you get disappointed. Okay. All right, so unless anyone has any, must be a short. Yeah, there probably is a short somewhere. I mean, typically I would use heat to find the short, except it's only shorting up here. So I mean, is the short happening? Is the short happening with one of these RAM chips? Could one of these RAM chips actually be creating the short? Yes, sorry Garrett, we have finished with the 2VX. The 2VX is done and dusted and tested and working and all good and just waiting for a go in the ultrasonic cleaner. And we have jumped across to a 2C in the meantime. An Apple 2C, so we're going super vintage here. Okay. Does the keyboard need to be plugged in? No, it doesn't. One more thing to say about the ROM chips. There are two different size ROMs, and the board requires a mod for the larger side. Oh, okay. So, okay, fair enough. So, we have a short. We know we have a short somewhere, which is creating the heat. We just have to find out where the short is. And typically when I'm hunting for a short, what I would usually do is I would inject some voltage. Don't really need to with this one because it gets hot all by itself. I would typically inject some voltage and find out what's getting hot, but we've got lots of things here getting hot. Oh, I've got to switch it on. But the other thing that I also tend to do is when I'm hunting down shorts, I tend not to do that on a live stream because it's so unbelievably boring. Just me going around trying to find shorts. Come on. Looking, looking, looking. Is that that? Yeah, it's hot, but it's not that hot. Because I mean, these guys here, these little RAM chips, they are getting obscenely hot. So anyhow, oh, battery low. Oh no, it's going to start going bad. I don't think they're getting 20 volts. I will check that for you, but I don't think they're actually getting 20 volts. I'll test. The power's still on. Okay, so let me just go in. I don't know which one is the voltage chip, but it's probably what, pin one maybe? Is that VCC? No? Can anyone tell me what pin is VCC on these chips? I've got no idea. 3.6 volts coming in there. 0.15. 4.9 volts. Stop it. So pin, what is that? 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, pin 8. I'm getting 4.93 volts. So yeah, I think we're at 3.4 volts in that pin there. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm getting the right voltage there, but they're just getting stupidly hot. Part number on that ROM chip should be 342- something. Okay, this is the dead one. 342-0272. Can't see that. Dash A. 342-0272-A. Dash A. Just looking. I mean, could these RAM chips be creating a short to ground? I mean, I'm just wondering. I don't know. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I think yeah, so that was the other thing I wanted to do. That was the other thing I wanted to do on the good one, just to, you know, so that people don't get freaked out. I'm going to grab my good one. Come on. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Good night, computer. There we go. So I'm going to just switch. This is the good one. Everyone should recognize the good one now because it doesn't have the horrible patina on the power supply. I'm going to switch this on and it should bip, and it does. And I'm going to get my little multimeter here and put it onto DC volts like that. And then I'm going to put that there and I'm going to go, so that's 5 volts. That is also, well, you can't see it, sorry. Let me just show you. So anyone who is getting a little nervous about the 20 volt thing, there you go, 19.38 volts. So it's the 20 volts on the good one as well. So this little pad here, which I don't know what it's connected to or what it does or what it's for or anything like that, is 20 volts. So don't get nervous about the fact that I was getting 20 volts on the other one. This is the good board and I'm getting 20 volts on this one as well. So I'm not sure where to read the 12 volt rail from. I mean, it'll be around here somewhere, but somewhere. I would be able to do it on the floppy connector, wouldn't I? On pin 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I dare say. Yep, there we go. 12.36 volts. So this is the good one. I'm getting 12 volts on there. Do people want me to check the 12 volt rail on the other one? I'll do that as the last thing. That'll be my last little moment to test the 12 volt rail on the thing. Because I just don't want people walking away going, oh man, he has all sorts of trouble because he's getting 20 volts on the 12 volt, which I don't think I am. I just want everyone to walk away feeling comfortable about that. So, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pin 6. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on. I'm having trouble getting it in there. That's what she said. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I'm not getting anything. Okay, so I am getting 12.4 volts there. So that's good. But I'm not getting 5 volts at the floppy connector, but I am getting 5 volts somewhere else, which does suggest that something's pulling that down somewhere. I've definitely got a short somewhere. Would people concur with that? I'm just gonna improve my chances here and just get this little guy in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I'm getting on the 5 volt rail out of the floppy connector, 3.9, 3.7. Wrong jack. What do you mean? Oh. Thank you. 3, 4, 6. Okay, no, it's all right. I just wasn't getting contact with it. 4.938 on pin 6, so we're getting 5 volts. 6, 7, 8, and then 12.39. So we are getting a 5 volt and a 12 volt and a 20 volt out of this one here. So we can at least be happy with that. So the chances are this little power supply here is okay, and it's giving us the power we want. But we have a serious short to ground somewhere on this board, which is making all those chips get hot. So I agree to remove the upper bank of RAM. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do. However, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it now, but I am going to do it because I am interested in getting it working again, even though the ROM is not happy. So, oh God, 2.5 hours. What the hell? Okay, so. Right, so we're good. RAM is burning hot. More bells you can establish. Can you tell me if W2 is soldered together on the good board? Oh, and that's a good point. I noticed that W2 thing, and I noticed that on one of them it seemed to be connected, and one of them it wasn't. So, just quickly. So this here is the good board, and W2 is soldered together. So that's a big affirmative for W2, soldered together on the good board. On the bad one, whoa, craps, don't fall down. I don't want the good one to fall down. By contrast, the bad board, W2 is not soldered. Now I'm sure that is something of significance to people who know their 2Cs, but that means nothing to me. So, Adam, if you would care to explain why one board would have W2 joined and the other one would not have W2 joined, I would be interested to know. Maybe it's that working ROM will only work if the W1 and W2 points match. Okay, so I've got two different Cs here, two Cs with two different ROM chips. So in actual fact, that ROM might be fine. It just doesn't work in the other one because of the W2 thing. Because I've got two unmatching W2 things, that ROM's not going to work on those two. So a W1 and W2 control the ROM size. So in theory, if I were to get that bad board and join those together and then use the known good ROM, it might beep or something like that. But I have to be honest, I must confess, under those circumstances, I'm not even sure that that ROM is bad then, given the fact that those other three chips are okay. I swear, I've got to pull that RAM off. I've just got to pull all that RAM off, don't I? Cut W1 and W2 to use that good ROM. Yeah. See, this is the thing. I came to the determination that the ROM was bad, but I came to that determination putting that ROM, the wrong size ROM, into a good board. So my initial determination that the ROM is bad, correct me if I'm wrong, that initial determination could be incorrect because of the W1 and W2 being different. So I took a ROM chip, I tested it on a good board and it didn't work, and so I said bad ROM. But in actual fact, it may not have worked because the W1 and W2 were joined and should not have been joined. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, ROM might be good, but it won't work on your good unit. Yeah. No, that's all fine. I'm all good with that. The fact that we've got this situation at the moment where several people in the chat have been saying, even if you've got bad RAM, you should be getting a beep, and I'm not getting a beep. It's the fact that those RAM chips are getting so hot that really bothers me. So I want to whip them out first. I don't know if I have enough RAM chips to replace all of them. I've got, I've got one here which may or may not be good. That was one that I suspected wasn't good before, but I guess I can test them all now. What's this? That's a known bad one. So, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not a good number. That's not a good number when I've got so many that are bad. So I'm going to have to order some more of these. I'm going to go out and hopefully I can order a whole bunch of these 4164s without too much strife. I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's going to be impacted by the chip shortage because I don't think anyone's making new ones, are they? Really don't supposed to, yeah, I don't think they're supposed to get that hot either. One thing I will say is that one of those RAM chips was getting blazingly hot. When I replaced it with a good one, it stopped getting hot. So just going to go out there and say it. One of the one that I replaced, it was getting blazingly hot. After replacing it, it stopped getting blazingly hot. So I just want to just say that. It will boot without the auxiliary RAM. Oh, well, what are we waiting for? Hey? Gosh. What are we waiting for? Let's get some of this RAM off. Do I just snip it off? What do you reckon? Snip it off and then I'll remove the pins later. I'm just thinking about time. Snip, snip. Okay, we're snipping. Let me get my snippers. Where are they? So we're basically talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all of the ARD ones. I'm just going to take them all off. And by snipping them, there's no way that they can ever be replaced. God, easier said than done. Can't get in there. There's one. So I know this is not very compelling viewing. I have to hold this close to my face because of my vision. I am not see so good. Maybe I should just cut them with the Dremel, eh? Just get in there and go, yeah. Okay, there's one off. See, that didn't take too long, did it? I'll get into the swing of this and it'll be a lot quicker, I promise. I am a Pro Max. Are they still blue scuzzying? My goodness. That's a marathon and a half. How many did they have to build? God, in this time I could have built my entire stock. Come on. Geez, these cutters are, be nice if they were just a tiny bit smaller. That's got to be enough. That'll allow me to get it off, won't it? Yeah. Bendy, bendy. Bend till snap. Okay, that's good. There we go. That's 3 down. Do you think I should? Yeah, okay, all right, I'm going to Dremel it. I'm going to Dremel it. It's going to make a horrible noise and I do apologise, but I'm going to Dremel it because I do think it will be quicker. So just bear with me a minute while I get my little Dremel container. People might need to consider a slight volume adjustment when I do this. Just want everyone to be forewarned because it does make a hell of a racket. Right, whoopsie, just kicking bits of Apple IIc around. I struggle so much. Sorry everyone, what are you sorry for? Always afraid I'll slip with the Dremel. I'm going to hope, I'm going to put this under, maybe under the microscope. Help me with a steady hand. All right, let's go. Let's go. Breaking time. This is just stupidly dangerous. No. No. Risks are way too great. Yes, it is very efficient and effective, but I'm telling you, I am going to absolutely destroy this. So yeah, I'm sticking to the clippers. Sorry, folks. Fun while it lasted. Four chips down. Ow! That chip is actually falling apart. Ow! Woo. So this one has kind of disintegrated while I was pulling it apart. None of the others have done that. Not even the one I dremeled. Oi. Just got to make sure I'm not shorting any of these. Okay, so that's 3 for 5. Yeah, maybe that chip was fried and that's why it came apart so easy. Now, tell me something. Do I need to take all of these off, or is there any logic in plugging this in and seeing if they're still getting hot even with a few left over, to find out whether maybe one of these I took off has actually resolved the problem? I don't know the answer to that. Will, you know, if I have like 6 removed but I leave 2 on, is there any value in me switching it on and checking to see whether it's stopped getting hot? Hey. Oi. God, I'm glad I've got eye protection on. This thing's flying around. It can't hurt to test it. So there we go. I've taken 6 off, and if my memory serves correctly, it was actually the first 6 that were getting hot. So I'm just going to switch it on. I'll first switch it on just to see if with the flare, and then I will connect the speaker to it and see if it bips. I'm pretty sure, I don't think I've created any shorts here. I'm pretty sure they're all clear. Just double check. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Connect them now. Okay, come on. Oh, don't be a... It's running out of juice. Plug it in. I'll plug it in. Not with that, I can't. How about that? I need a USB-C. There we go. Okay, well, it's working. Oh, it's sort of working now. Let's just check. All right, so we're all cool. You can see we're all the same color along here. I'm now going to switch it on. And, oh, okay, it's not as hot as it was, but we are still getting some heat on. Okay, we're now into the main RAM now. That one, and that one. And it's not silly heat, but it's there. But yeah, okay. So look, I'm going to whip. No, sorry, I did promise people I would check and see if it beeps. So we will check and see if it beeps. Don't expect it to, but we will check. No beep. Cool. That was just for all the people there who wanted to see if it would beep. All right, let's continue removing these. I'm just going to take the last of the two auxiliary off. It's funny how the first few I took off all stayed together, and now these ones towards the end are all falling apart. Maybe I'm just getting more heavy-handed. That is a possibility. Character gen is required for the beep, is it? Just want to make sure I haven't cooked some of these capacitors. No, all good. Happy, all good. Okay, so that's all of the auxiliary RAM taken off now. So we will now just check and see if we're still getting heat. Everything falling down. Which we probably are, but we just need to check. Okay, so we've still got these two here getting hot. Now, as I mentioned before, here's a really important thing to keep in mind. When we very first started, this one here was getting blazingly hot. Now, I replaced that, and it stopped getting hot. These two here, so what are we talking? We're talking, it's really hard to see with these. So that one and that one. So I'll just check that again. All right, so the first one is okay. It's the second and the third one which are getting hot. So throw me some rope here. I am going to replace these two here with new chips. Okay, so these are all gone. We know they were getting stupid hot before. I'm going to replace these two here, which are getting hot, in the same way that I replaced this one and is now no longer getting hot. So yes, 13 and 14 are the two. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do right now. And that will make us all happy. That will bring joy and peace to the world. Don't you know it? It's interesting you say that. No, I'm not monitoring the power consumption. I don't have this rigged up to my power supply. I should. Shouldn't I? It's not rigged up to my bench power supply. It's running off a separate power supply. I should wire one up. The reason why it's not hooked up in my bench power supply is I've never really set myself up for diagnostics tools for doing something like this, because I just don't normally do this sort of stuff. But yes, I should rig it up to the bench power supply so I can see the power consumption. But because it has a stropid power connector, it doesn't beep because the volume knob broke. Got a good volume knob here. It's on highest. Okay, so that stays. This one goes. All right. So let's go. Let's whip out some pins. In the meantime, I'm going to charge up my FLIR. FLIR charging. One of the things about the FLIR is it uses its own power source, where the other ones that actually get their power from the phone. I have to confess I would prefer it if it got its power from the phone, because the battery in it is just like, it holds next to no power. Oh, Dave's here. Hello, Dave. Thank you for joining. So we're dealing with an Apple IIc here. I know that the stream was talking about the 2VX, where I asked the question, was the 2VX Apple's greatest innovation? Which of course the answer to that is no. But we did that quite quickly and easily, and then we've just moved now on to an Apple IIc. I'm starting to get used to saying 2C instead of 2CI, because I'm just so used to 2CI, it just rolls off the tongue for me. And I am starting to get used to saying 2C. And this is one, so we've got one that works and we've got one that doesn't work. And the chances are, this one didn't work when I got it, but I broke it. I broke it big time. Because I sent not just 12, but as it turns out, it looks like I sent 20 volts down the 12 volt rail. Because, you know, that's how we do things here at Brankers. And so we ended up in this situation with all these chips, all these RAM chips getting ridiculously hot. And so I've been just removing these chips, and the hope is that maybe replacing them might solve our problem, or at least get us a little bit closer. At the moment this does nothing, it doesn't beep, it is just as dead can be. And we would love to just see something. I would just be happy with a complete mess of noise and stuff on the screen, but just something. I have done the removal of these RAM chips the cheats way by snipping all the pins and then just whipping them out one at a time, and it really does make life so easy. But of course you can really only do that if you don't want to keep the parts you're removing. Now, 2C with a socketed RAM here, I pulled the 8 chips and it still boots. That's good to know. Okay, so, right, I am going to, thank you for doing that, Adam, I appreciate that. It's good to know what we're aiming for. So now I've just got to get all this solder out of these holes. And then we'll pop in some sockets. We'll pop in a couple of chips and we'll see what goes down. The solder comes out of these holes really easily. It's got to be something to do with the way the board is made, because it just rolls out. It's awesome. See, I jinxed myself. Oh no, it still comes out. See, do they just come out? It's awesome. How great is it? I am a little bit behind on the chat, so I apologise. Yep, tested voltages. Time to end the stream because Dave's here. For anyone who doesn't watch the Macintosh show, it's our little running joke because of Dave's from it's Dave's vintage. Dave's I can't remember the full name of your channel, Dave. It's not rude of me. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Because of his work hours, when we have our Macintosh broadcast, he generally turns up just before we're about to finish, and so it's become our little running joke that we can end the show once Dave arrives. Ouch. So I'm right on the end of this, what do you call this? This wick, and it's starting to burn my fingers because I've got nothing left to hold on to. That's it. That's one more roll gone. Move on to the next one. Okay, there we go. We have got two nice cleaned spots for some new sockets and some new RAM chips to go. Obviously a tip for anyone who is doing this sort of work, it makes very good sense to replace the RAM with sockets. Make it easier for the next guy. And make sure you put them around the right way, otherwise you'll feel a bit of a fool. All right, one socket, two sockets. Let's get these soldered on. Oh, did I put them around the right way? Yep, they're around the right way. Where's my Fluxaroonie? There it is. Yes, this is about as far as I am probably going to go. I can't see myself, you know, I'm not actually even in a position where I can just say, hey, let's replace all the RAM chips, because I don't have enough RAM chips. But yeah, I'm wanting to try and, whoops, have a fair crack. You know, the irony of this is, I reckon that when I got this, the only thing wrong with it was the RAM chips, and then I went and did it a whole bunch of harm. which happens. I'm not proud of it, but it happens. Sometimes you just make a stupid mistake and you go, I cannot believe I just did that. But it happens. Even race car drivers crash their cars sometimes. How's that for an analogy? Huh? Huh? See, I'm suggesting that I'm pushing this stuff to the edge. I just realised that Kai's not around anymore, and that's not surprising. It's bloody late, but I missed him. I missed him saying goodbye. Isn't that terrible? Sorry, Kai. Ah, 5 a.m. Oh. All right. So for the sake of all those people that, oh, I missed a pin. I missed one. For the sake of those people that have stayed up to some ridiculously late hour in their location, I apologise. I will try and wrap this up reasonably quickly now. I get 2 little chips here. Plonk one there. And plonk one here. This one is an NEC, the other one was a Texas Instruments. Look at that. There. Yeah. Okay. So now here's the pièce de résistance. Starting off without the speaker. This is just a FLIR test, so this is just a heat test we're going to be doing. And then we'll do a little bit more. Can only wrap it up when it's fixed, yeah. I'm quite happy to wrap it up not fixed. Come on, don't be a thing. Anyway, switching on. Get a little red light. That red light needs to go green. When it goes green, it's ready to be used. Here we go. Battery's now at 36%. All right, so there's going to be a little bit of residual heat here because I put a soldering iron to it. That sucks. I don't want you to be hot. I'll put some the evaporation of the alcohol will help cool the surface. Alright, so even though there's a fair bit of heat around on the board, the heat is not on the chips now. The chips have cooled down. Oh, I should change the view, shouldn't I? Top view, so you can see. So you can see here that there's all this residual heat from where I've been soldering, but the chips themselves are more of this bluey purpley color because I cooled them down with some isopropyl alcohol. So the chips are cool. So if we're testing to see whether the chips get hot, we can actually do that now. So let's get our power. And plug that in. And switch it on. And we'll see what happens. You can see if any of this stuff gets hot. It's a lot harder to tell at the moment because the whole frickin' board is hot. Okay, well the RAM chips are no longer getting hot. Okay, so that I can confirm. We've got heat coming up in some of these other chips, but we don't know, that heat could be perfectly normal, but there is no more heat happening on these RAM chips. So, next step. Question. Will I still get a beep without the generator? I'll just get the character generator. Let's not do things by halves. Let's get a character generator from the good board. There we go. Okay, character generator in place. We'll get the speaker, which is now so far away from me, I have to make old man noises to pick it up. There we go. There we go. Now, if I've still got power in this, oh good, I unplugged it. Preserving power. Let's get that there. Pocket there. We'll connect this up. So we're going the whole hog here. We're connecting up the monitor, we're connecting up the speaker, and we're going to see what happens. So, now, don't anyone get their expectations too high because, as I say, you know, this computer is... Oh, check volume. It's maxed. It's maxed out. It's right up. It's right up there. As far as it goes, high. Little lines are there tallest. Okay, we ready? 3, 2, 1. Still no beep? Still no video? So we're still not there, but you know, I wasn't really expecting it to work, and there's a very good reason for that, and that is that it didn't work before. It didn't work before I broke it. So I didn't, because I don't think I got a beep on it before. So before. So anyhow, what I'm going to do now is I am going to put this into the ultrasonic cleaner and clean it up, because I don't think it has ever had that treatment before. So a good clean will do it some good. And then I guess I can't do this with the ROM because they're different, but I guess some of the other socketed chips I can swap over. Do you have the correct ROM on that board? Yes, I do, because I'm pretty sure I swapped them back again. Yeah, this is 342-0272A. So yes, this does have the correct ROM in it, because I swapped back to make that one work. I wanted to make sure that one works. So, yeah. Well, yeah. Heat behavior though is stable, which is good. Yep. Yeah, well, we're not getting any ridiculous heat poking up now. I mean, there was, when I was doing it before, things were getting like really hot to the touch. There's none of that going on here now. There are things getting warm, but they're just getting operationally warm. They're not getting stupid hot. Can't end without fixing something. I did the IIvx, come on. Just cast your mind back to that. Now, I do have to go, unfortunately. It's been over 3 hours. That's an hour longer than I really had time for today. So, but, you know, we're having a bit of fun. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for keeping me company. I have really appreciated it. Let's just call this 2C an ongoing project. Let's just see how we go. I'm going to need to get some bits for it at some stage. But, you know, we're further ahead now than we were before. So we've got to be happy with that. So thanks guys. I'm sorry for the people that I kept up until some ungodly hour of the morning. I do apologize for that. And I am planning to probably stream same bat time, same bat channel next week. So hope to see you there. Have a good one, folks, and thanks again. Bye now.